After an intensive interview processes, knowledge examination, and perhaps a sleepless night or two, it's time for the state officer candidates to present their speeches. Let's give these individuals a round of applause as they make their way down to the stage. Candidates will present their speeches in random order and will be given 2.5 minutes. Time will start in their first round. At the 2.5-minute mark, the microphone will be cut off. Our first candidate to speak is Pedro Zamora from the Eastmont FFA chapter.
Hello, Washington FFA. My name is Pedro Mendoza, representing Eastmont FFA in District 7. Before I begin, I'd like to know how many of you are familiar with the FFA mission statement? Yeah? Well, to refresh everyone's memories, it goes a little something like this. FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agriculture education. Being an FFA for 5 years now, I can definitely say I've been able to grow immensely as a person, gain important leadership skills, and have the knowledge and skills to be successful in whatever future career I may pursue. One of these stories involving my very first market goat. Now, she was definitely something unique, I guess you could say. I was extremely excited to be able to learn about this side of FFA and be able to participate in my local fairs. So I went out there, Soap Lake, picked her up, and we had a few issues, but which is to be expected when trying something new. So we moved her over to our school facility pens where I was keeping her, and after a while, she jumped out. So while we tried to figure out what to do, we moved her to a good-sized horse trailer with about openings with about a foot wide. Guess what she did again? She jumped out. This time escaping our school facility completely, and was later caught by our Humane Society a few blocks down. And it cost me $50 to bail her out too. So while I may have had to deal with a crazy goat, and she was a hassle at times, I was able to overcome this and be able to learn important leadership skills like patience and responsibility, which have allowed me to become a better leader. Now, as I look back, I'm thankful for that experience, and I'm sure that I was able to explore the different types of careers that come with raising and selling livestock. So, Washington FFA, I'm here before you, and I ask you, will you continue to grow with me? And to steal a quote from Napoleon Dynamite, vote for Pedro. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Lillian McGregor from the Crosse FFA chapter.
You are your own worst critic. This is a saying we all have heard, but how many of us actually take this to heart? Like many members here, my very first solo FFA competition was the Creed, and I felt like I'd been preparing for it my entire life. I had spent years listening to my older sisters recite the Creed nonstop, and I felt as if I'd already had it memorized prior to freshman year. I had spent so long practicing the answers to all my questions, and I was pretty sure I could say the Creed in my sleep. But then competition day came. I remember starting on the Creed and staring out at all those faces in the crowd, and suddenly at the beginning of my third paragraph, as I spoke the words, "I believe in leadership from ourselves," I trailed off, stumbled, and repeated just 2 words. But that was it for me. Suddenly, my hopes of making it to state and Creed shattered, and tears welled up in my eyes as I continued through the Creed, so angry at myself for making even one small mistake that I barely managed to finish the 2 remaining paragraphs and mumble through the carefully practiced answers to the questions I had heard dozens of times before. This was several years ago, though, and now, looking back at that whole experience, I can recognize that it was only 2 words. 2 words crashed my entire Creed speech. How can 2 words make such a difference? The truth is, they made such a difference because I allowed them to. I let my confidence waver because of only 2 words. According to my advisor and several others who had witnessed my public speaking disaster, it was really not that big of a deal, and I could have still made it to state had I not allowed myself to derail my presentation with the amount of pressure I'd put upon myself. I feel like in today's society, we are all conditioned to think too critically of the way we are. How we look, how we dress, how we speak, how we think. There are enough pressures on us already that we really don't need any more from ourselves. Just look at all the outside influences students face these days. From Instagram models to famous TikTok stars, we are constantly surrounded by people who can make us feel poorly about ourselves. And when we look to forms of popular media for comfort, we see others who we think may look, speak, or even act better than us. But the truth is, this can only affect you if you let it. You and only you have control over your attitude and your life. Every one of us in this room has been allotted the opportunity through success. But no matter how many speeches we memorize and how many facts we think we know, we will never be truly successful unless we allow ourselves the time to de-stress and relax, so as to take some pressure off ourselves and not allow your success to be hindered by just 2 words.
Our next candidate is Esther Gross from the Rochester FFA chapter.
Hello, Washington FFA. My name is Esther Gross, and I am coming to you from the amazing Rochester chapter in District 3. A couple years ago, I downloaded an app called TikTok. I think most of you guys are pretty familiar with it. I've definitely wasted a few, maybe more than a few, hours scrolling through those 1 to 2 minute videos. I learned the Renegade, I learned all of my new favorite songs, and raise your hand if you tried whipped coffee. Okay, some of you. Now, these videos haven't solved world issues, but they've still changed the world. One day while scrolling, I saw a video of a girl discussing how she was making an impact through social media. She talked about making a difference, and in just 120 seconds, she was able to encourage and influence people from around the world. The idea that these short interactions could have such a large impact was mind-blowing to me. It took 2 minutes to reach thousands of people, even millions of miles away. Now, TikTok, often we think that we can't make an impact on others or that we don't have enough time. We record TikToks and store them in the drafts, never seeing what kind of influence they could have. I have 367 unposted TikToks. Now, TikTok may not be my platform, but through our day-to-day lives, we have so many small moments that we can turn into opportunities to make an impact, to encourage and influence growth within our organization and its members. I want to have a positive impact on each person I interact with, even if it is in a small way. Just as leaders throughout FFA have helped build me into the best version of myself. Each interaction we have is the chance to be purposeful and how we connect and influence those around us. I encourage you to use your time here at convention to make meaningful and positive interactions with those around you. Ask me where I'll be in 5 years, and I'll tell you changing lives and influencing them for the better. And I hope to do that here with all of you. My name is Esther Gross, and I am so excited to potentially serve you this year as a state officer. Thank you.
Our next candidate is George Dress from the Kamiakin FFA chapter.
Good morning, Washington FFA. My name is George Dress, and I'm from the Kamiakin FFA chapter right here in Kennewick. Let me start off by telling you a story of one of my role models, my grandfather, George W. Dress, who I am named after. His parents immigrated from Greece and settled in a small rural town in southern Minnesota. He grew up with nothing, and by the age of 11, he was put on a Greyhound bus and sent across the Minnesota-Iowa border, where he shined shoes for a nickel a pair to help earn his family an income. Ever since then, my grandfather knew what hard work was. Until this day, at age 89 years old, he still goes into the store every day to continue to work hard for his family. He is an inspiration to me, as his hard work ethic has been passed down from him to my parents and now to me. FFA has been a big part of my life for the past 4 years, as I have served as a chapter officer for the past 4 years, as well as a district officer for the past 2. I have encouraged enrollment by the members and have always represented the organization in a professional manner. Last fall, I had the opportunity to represent Washington State at the National FFA Convention as a state delegate, and it was an amazing experience. Now, I would like to continue that service to you, our members of Washington FFA. FFA is a big part of my life and will always be a part of me. Let me end with a quote by former CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch. "Before you become a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. I have watched my grandfather grow others through his own success. I have been able to grow my leadership skills through FFA. And now, I would like to continue to grow the success of Washington FFA. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of convention."
Our next candidate is Sam Gillis from the Elma FFA chapter.
Good morning, Washington FFA. My name is Sam Gillis, representing the Elma FFA chapter. Growing up, I was surrounded by agriculture. Not only did my family own a small tree farm in northern Florida, but at the age of only 5 years old, my father and I started a backyard hobby nursery where we would grow and sell plants at local fairs and festivals. This was my first experience with agriculture and is where I first initially developed my passion for it. Starting high school, I decided that I wanted to further my education in agriculture, and I did this through the classes offered by my high school, as well as by joining FFA. But little did I know that by signing up for FFA, I would embark on a journey that would last me for 4 years. I have had the opportunity to excel both in the classroom, in competition, and through SAEs. However, my most meaningful experiences in FFA have come outside of that three-circle model. In fact, if you were to ask me what my most valuable experience has been, it came from an odd place. In 2020, I found out that I was moving to Washington from Florida. At the height of the pandemic, at a time where I was already suffering from symptoms of isolation, this only added to my fears. Not only was I already isolated from the rest of the world, but I was leaving behind my family, my friends, and every memory I had ever made. However, there was a group of individuals that supported me every step along the way, my state officers. They connected me with schools to enroll in, competitions to compete in, as well as people to connect with. The entire time I dealt with the state officers, I always felt respected, encouraged, accepted, and like I was a part of a community. This was the first eye-opening experience where I realized the potential that state officers have to affect members. Since then, it has become my goal to make sure that no other member ever has to go through that feeling of isolation again. I hope to make sure that every member can feel as if they are an individual, as if they matter, because they do. While I may no longer have my Florida tan, Washington is my home. And so before I leave you today, I would like to say one last thing. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Maddie Weber from the Pullman FFA chapter.
Michael Phelps once said, "The more you dream, the more you achieve." For me, I think back to myself 10 years ago, an 8-year-old joining our local club swim team, thinking it was my dream to be like Michael Phelps and go to the Olympics someday. Although that's a bit overambitious, it definitely motivated me to never give up. A dream truly becomes a goal when action is taken to achieve it. I've noticed that we as humans are constantly making goals for ourselves. And even in school or FFA, we learn about the importance of SMART goals. And honestly, I think that's what showed me that I need to make a more realistic goal rather than just a dream. My freshman year, I joined the high school swim team, and I had hopefully made a more attainable goal for myself. I was quickly dropping time in the 100 breaststroke, and I told my coach, I want to break the school record. But at that point, I still had 5 seconds to drop. Sounds like a bit of a stretch, right? Well, by the district's meet of my junior year, I was finally ready to race in person again, and I was ready to reach my goal. And I did. Well, sort of. I broke the school record, but I also broke one of the most fundamental rules of swimming, touching the wall with one hand, which is an automatic disqualification. This left me devastated and losing hope of reaching my goal. But with the encouragement from people around me, I learned that it's more important to focus on your goals and not the obstacles that we face to get there. By the very last meet of my last season, I was able to reach my goal, and I was filled with so much joy and relief. Situations like this definitely don't just happen in sports. They happen in anything from FFA to our future careers. Everyone should make goals, and those obstacles we face should motivate us to reach those goals. Through FFA, I've learned that we're all capable of so much more than we might think. My freshman year, I joined FFA, and I was filled with so much excitement and goals, but also some fear. The best advice that I've been told is my advisor telling me that in order to reach your goals, you must do what you're afraid to do. That even includes extemporaneous speaking. That's how we grow as leaders, teachers, and just humans. My name is Maddie Weber, and I hope to help us all
Our next candidate is Ryan Porter from the Deer Park FFA chapter.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but I see the world from a different perspective than most. And no, I'm not talking about being able to see the tops of most of your heads. If I'm doing my job, and trust me, I'm trying, you won't be able to spot my most obvious difference. My most obvious difference is that I have a learning difference. In grade 4, about age 9, the writing was on the wall. According to my school, I was high energy, was good at math, but had a bad attention span and the reading skills of a second grader. You see, my most obvious difference, the one that you can't actually see, is that I'm dyslexic. So, with that being said, how did I move past that? So, my mom heard the words dyslexic and remediation, and she remediated. She decided we were in for a new adventure. She pulled her high-energy farm kid, and homeschooling boot camp it was. She focused on my math and my science, and we worked on my reading, and slowly, progressively, it got better. As I learned my learning path, and my mom and dad kept me busy and active, I didn't really realize, but slowly but surely, my learning and my reading was getting better. Looking back, when learning is enjoyable, everything is fun, even reading. When you're reading something that you enjoy, it is always fun. It is such a shame to me that not every student and not every person or every school gets to have ag classes, because ag classes are very helpful to people like me. I am me. When you're looking for your future, think about what you enjoy. I enjoy learning to be myself. I'm a high energy, math-minded, science geek nerd, and a dyslexic learner. I am me because of science, technology, engineering, and math. I am me because
Thank you, candidates. We wish you luck. Washington FFA, tonight a new team of passionate individuals will be elected to serve you for the following year. Delegates, please finish your voting. Ballots will be collected shortly.